This is The Wheel Weaves, a Wheel of Time podcast with no spoilers. Hey everyone, I'm your host Dani, and I'm the first-time reader going through this series chapter by chapter. As always, there's no spoilers past the chapter we're covering, and that means it's totally safe for first-time readers. I'm joined by my co-host Brett, who's a longtime fan, and he's guiding me on this journey. We'd like to thank and acknowledge our executive producers, Brandy Aaron Kirkwood, Sean McGuire, Yanis, Light-Blinded Fool, Green Man, Davis Ferreira, Margaret, Big C, Bennett Williamson, Dylan C, Hannah Green, Noralia, Jordan Gower, and Jeff Searles. In this episode, we are recapping, reviewing, and overall breaking down Knife of Dreams.
Yeah, this is our totally moderately structured recap that we do.
Yep.
It's where we have fun, talk about Knife of Dreams.
Yes.
There we go.
I know.
I feel more relaxed.
I am excited for you to tell me about all of the things that happened in this book that I forgot that happened.
Yeah. This is the first book in a long time where we actually went pretty slow.
It's taking a long time to finish this book, since like March or something like that.
I couldn't even tell you.
Yeah.
No idea.
A while.
It has been.
Mm-hmm.
Long enough that it's like looking back, you forget the things that happen in this book.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but that's what this episode is for.
Yes, that's true. Okay, I exaggerated. It was the beginning of June.
Oh man, that's actually not that long then.
No.
Well, okay, 6 months. That's
6 months for a book.
That's a fair amount of time.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, that is quite a while.
It's going to get worse though. So
shoot.
Like in the sense that it's going to be dragged out even more because the next 3 books are even longer.
Yeah.
But
that's okay.
This is not an episode for that yet.
Okay. Well, as is tradition, would you like to start out with some bad book reviews?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I was going to say as is tradition.
No, you weren't.
Have we said that
funny.
before? I feel like we said that before.
Well, no, this is just the tradition.
Okay, I found some really good ones actually, and I'm pretty excited to talk about them.
Are you?
I am, surprisingly.
I was on Goodreads.
Okay.
.com, and I think I have a good mix of reviews that are all 1 star. They're all they all really didn't like this book.
Well, that's why we do bad book. We're not here for the good ones.
Honestly, at this point, I'm just so surprised that the fans have made it to book 11 and we're still giving 1-star reviews.
Oh yeah, still complaining.
Because
what are we doing?
you made it through books 9, 10, and here we are at book 11, and you still are surprised that you didn't like it.
I like how you started on book 9 and 10. It's like they've started usually at book 1.
No, but I mean, those are what old people think of the slog. 8, 9, 10 kind of thing, right?
Fair enough.
So it's just interesting to me that somebody who is complaining about the descriptions and everything like that is still here and is still writing negative reviews.
Love it. Okay, so start us off then, and then I'll hit you with a couple good ones.
Yeah, I was going to say, I have a variety of people who wrote reviews prior to the next book coming out.
Okay.
And very recently. Okay. So my first review comes from somebody who wrote this in December of 2009.
Okay.
So a while ago. And they say, "My God, what a dreadful, horrible slog this book is. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on. Do I really need to know the complete physical description and life history and general demeanor of a character never seen before whose sole purpose is to carry a box out of a house and then never to be seen of again? Do I really need to know how big the knockers on every single female characters are?"
At first I thought you were going to say door knockers, but okay.
"Some of whom I believe were introduced simply so Jordan could say how big their knockers are."
Okay, I can't argue with that.
Yeah. Yeah, and then at the end he says, "That said, I actually stayed with this because I've already invested too much time to not see how this ends. If it ever does, I hear the Sanderson books are now to be a trilogy. Hope those are more tightly written."
All right. Okay, well, good luck with that.
Right?
Okay, so I want to do a couple here, or at least one really good one that I'm super excited for because I like the bad reviews that have nothing to do with the actual content of the book. Oh,
yeah. The book was printed upside down.
I have a really good one this time.
Okay.
I do have to say, overwhelmingly great reviews on this book. 4.6 stars out of 5 on Amazon.ca out of over 12,000 reviews. That's pretty solid. Mm-hmm. Only 1% of the reviews were 1 and 2 stars.
Okay.
So that's pretty solid.
Yeah.
But here's a really good 1 star. Not as expected. The book came smaller than the standard size and appears to have been chewed on by a rodent at the top binding and cover. Love it.
1 star.
1 star. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Oh, wow. I'm surprised you keep finding those.
I know. I was happy for that one.
Yeah. This is a good one. This is a 1-star review from someone who wrote in 2021.
Yeah.
It's another Wheel of Time book. Read the first 2 chapters and the last 2, and you'll be ready for the next one.
Okay, there's like 2 chapters in the middle that are super important also.
Mm-hmm. And also, is there a female character in this whole narrative that we do not have a chest size for?
Ooh.
So this was like
okay.
something people picked up specifically in this book.
You know what? And I didn't.
I actually did.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't feel like we talked about that very much.
Mm-hmm.
So this person, I don't know if they're in the right section. 1 star. Missing CDs in the box. Hello? The box set did not have all the CDs. There were at least 2 CDs missing from the box, which I figured out later. Okay, so
Aww.
1 star for Knife of Dreams.
Too
Sorry.
bad. Aw.
No CDs in the box. Hate it when that happens.
Yeah.
There were actually quite a few 1-star reviews. There's like 5 or 6 where they also again accuse Robert Jordan of milking the series for more money.
Yeah, I've read some of those.
A couple of those ones.
Yeah. I have one really good one from 2008.
Okay.
1 star. This is one of the great literary mysteries of our age. Why do people continue to read the Wheel of Time series when Robert Jordan's books continue to be a train wreck of badly designed plots, endless catfighting, unimaginative magic, and a constant stream of minor characters who contribute nothing to the narrative? And then it goes on and on. And then, very end, my favorite sentence, don't take my word for it, go read A Game of Thrones instead. In 2008, right?
I love
like
it.
They didn't
I
even
love it.
know.
They had
They
no
didn't even
idea.
know.
Yeah. 15 years later, man. Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, can I end us on a positive review?
What? No?
Okay,
just
well,
kidding.
you can do one more if you want. You have one more negative.
No,
okay.
Go ahead.
I'm going to end us on a 4 out of 5 star.
Okay.
Sanderson does a good job of continuing the series, although the transition between writers is far from seamless. A good novel on its own merits, and of course indispensable for those like me who've been reading the books for 20-odd years and have to finish the series.
Okay, that feels like it's not this book.
Yeah, that's the thing. 4 to 5 stars for a book, and it sounds like he thinks that Sanderson did this one also.
Yeah, did not.
But 4 to 5 stars, can't argue with that.
Well, and he's like, it wasn't a seamless transition between authors. And it's like, no, Robert Jordan wrote this one too.
Yeah, Sanderson wasn't involved yet, man.
You're on the wrong book.
Yeah, perfect. Okay.
Maybe that one belongs on the next book.
Maybe.
By accident.
Maybe.
You know?
I don't know.
on the wrong book title and wrote a review.
Could be. Mm-hmm. You'd never know.
Yeah, you would never know.
Yeah.
We're never going to know.
No.
One day, somebody listening to this is going to be like,
Hey, I wrote that.
I wrote that. That's my review. Oh, my.
Okay, can we get into the nitty-gritty of Knife of Dreams?
No.
How did you feel?
Oh, okay.
That's the nitty-gritty part.
Oh, yeah, okay.
How'd you feel about it?
I was going to say, no, we have other things to do before we do that.
No.
We
Tell
have a
me.
sequence of events tonight.
Right, moderately structured.
Yes.
How did you feel about Knife of Dreams? As a book, standalone, and within the series? How did you like it?
So I think that I overall liked it.
Okay, don't use too strong of words here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't want to go overboard.
No, I don't have like this immediate, like sort of visceral negative reaction.
Sure,
but I
that's
do
good.
feel as though, and I've said this before, the way that I read it hindered my experience slightly.
Sure.
So I remember having read this book for about 4 months and still not really liking it.
Sure, okay.
And I was like, what's happening? What's going on? Nothing much. And then eventually things pick up and things happen. And I like the things that happen. As opposed to our Crossroads of Twilight, where I felt like none of our characters got any wins. We got no wrap-ups. We were in a convoluted web that got more convoluted. This did seem a touch more interesting.
Okay.
And we were able to wrap up some plot lines.
A lot,
which feels like we got some wins.
Yeah.
We did. We did officially get some wins. Where we go from here is yet to be determined, but I feel like this felt like a more conclusive book than a lot of the ones we've read before.
Okay, so where does it stand right now? Because I also want to ask you again after I have the chance to sway your opinion by talking about all the awesome things that happen in this book.
I will say that of the 11 books I've read,
okay,
this one ranks probably about 5th or 6th.
Okay, and you're like not counting New Spring at all? Because you said 11 books.
I know, no.
Okay, it's just not even on the charts
I almost feel like I have to write them out now at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, give me a moment.
Make some sort of list.
Yeah, give me a moment.
All right.
Okay, I wrote them down. Now, it doesn't bode well for some of these books that I didn't remember that they existed.
Oh, okay.
You know,
yep,
when you're
fair.
playing that game where you're like, name all the 50 states or something like that.
Being Canadian, no.
Oh, I can. But,
okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, I know the game, but like I never played it.
But like imagine, something else. Like this, for example.
Here's a game. How many provinces and territories are there?
Well, that's too easy.
Okay, for you. For you.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, what I'm saying is if I get to the end and I'm like, which one am I missing? Probably not a big impact. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Okay. So my rankings so far in this moment are...
Just like right now. Okay.
1, Fires of Heaven.
Okay. Still at the top.
Still. Oh, yeah. Yes. 2, Shadow Rising.
Okay, that makes sense.
3, The Dragon Reborn.
Interesting.
Yep.
Okay.
4, Winter's Heart.
Okay.
For the ending, for the cleansing.
Yeah, that was really good.
That did it for me. That wins. And then I'm putting Knife of Dreams at number 5.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, because when I look back on what happened and how I felt for the characters, I feel overall like generally good.
Yeah.
Generally.
Yeah, okay.
Kind of. Okay.
It's a nice feeling book.
So now the next 3 are completely interchangeable.
Sure.
I mean, I wrote them down as I remembered them. So I have Path of Daggers, Crown of Swords, and The Great Hunt.
Sure.
Kind of lumped together 6, 7, 8.
Okay.
In the middle there. And then 9, Lord of Chaos.
Yeah.
10, Eye of the World.
Wow. Okay.
11, Crossroads of Twilight. 12, New Spring.
Okay, that's a decent order, I suppose.
Yeah, I know it's not popular. Lord of Chaos, some people have that way up at the top.
For sure.
But I've said this before, Lord of Chaos is 100% a reread book.
Yeah.
I think that I will enjoy it more on a reread.
Yeah.
And same with Eye of the World. I think I'll enjoy Eye of the World more on a reread than I did initially.
Right? Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I like that. I'm not going to do a complete rankings, but I think I said it last time. Knife of Dreams is like probably top 3 for me.
Yeah.
I love it. I just love I find that there's a lot of little things that happen in this book that are so cool. And like I've waited so long for them to happen.
Yes.
They're just amazing. So we'll talk about it. And that's what my job is. I'm going to try to sway your opinion.
Okay.
I want to bump it up a notch or 2.
I think my main issue, honestly, is I have such an emotional connection to those first couple of books, those first 5 books.
Sure.
That, like, The Dragon Reborn was where I really started to get into enjoying the series.
Okay.
And then The Shadow Rising and Fires of Heaven, I knew what was going on and it was really exciting, It's
not overly convoluted with Aes Sedai names.
Not too crazy, right?
Yeah.
And I just have this emotional connection based on how we're reading these books. And so it's going to be very challenging for me to top that. Like Fires of Heaven is my favorite book. And I mean, I have reasons why. I like plot points that happened in it very much. But it's going to just be really hard for that to budge because of, I don't know, I guess what we were doing in our lives while we were reading it. Like, I don't even know. I can't even tell you. But anyway, so that's how I'm feeling at this moment. This book will rank 5th for me.
Okay, love it.
Yep.
Now, before we get into the actual nitty-gritty stuff, we did a couple of special things here for this book recap episode.
Yes.
Because this is the last Robert Jordan book that he got to fully write by himself before he passed away. So we thought it was fitting that we do a little bit of a tribute episode.
Yeah, we were really fortunate to sit down and have an over-the-internet interview with Maria, the Wheel of Time series continuity editor. And we're really excited to be able to bring that interview to you guys right now. Hi, Maria. We just wanted to have a really fun conversation with you and sort of learn who you are and your part in helping these books come to life so that we can read them and enjoy them. And so we know that a lot of our fans are new readers or maybe haven't heard your perspective from, sort of what you do and your side of things. We're really excited to welcome you here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm Maria Simmons, also occasionally known as Suleiman Joharan of the Brown Aja.
Oh.
And 27 years, 10 months, and 28 days ago, I went to work for Robert Jordan, and it was life-changing and fabulous, and I'm the luckiest person in the universe.
That's amazing. I have to ask, though, is that did you count the days?
Yeah.
Do you know?
I'm very good at head calendar.
Fair enough. Okay.
Good.
And I started working on January 31st, so that kind of makes it easier.
Okay,
there you go.
Fair enough. So I guess first question, because I think a lot of people who didn't get to experience these books as they were coming out, they didn't get to really be as interactive with the community. We want to shed some light on who exactly you are. Maybe they haven't even heard of you.
Yeah.
Just because some people just literally pick up book one and read. They don't engage online. They don't read through forums. They stay away from the internet due to spoilers. Can you just give like a quick explanation of who exactly you are and your role, I suppose, in the Wheel of Time universe?
I was Robert Jordan's personal assistant. I will probably start referring to him as Jim because that's really how I knew him. But, I was hired to answer fan mail and do some filing, and it kind of blossomed from there. And of course, now I'm still Harriet's assistant. And over the years, I've done so many things. I started the cataloging of Jim's library. I was worried I was going to work my way out of a job. I didn't realize how many books he actually bought. Shortly before he died, we reached the 15,000 book mark.
Wow.
That he owned.
Yeah, so that's personal library. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when I was hired, I was answering fan mail. And then Harriet tried to get him to let me copy edit A Crown of Swords. And he was like, no, I don't want to spoil her. So I had to try and convince him I didn't care if I was spoiled. And he was going through his notes and realized he had like 5 Aes Sedai files with different information in each. And he called me down and said, would you mind organizing these? You'll probably get spoiled. And I was like, no problem.
Yeah.
So that's how I started. And by the time we got to A Path of Daggers, he decided to let me read it as he wrote it, along with Harriet, and that I should be the continuity editor to make sure everybody's eyes were the same color.
Right.
And everything like that. So that's what I did. Just tried to keep things consistent. I also did a lot of research. He had a list of questions. There were regular questions. There were urgent questions. There were ultra urgent questions. And occasionally there were super ultra urgent questions.
Right. And so that was your job to find them, and fast, I bet.
That was my job.
Very, very cool. That is super special. And I know you mentioned Harriet. And so for people who don't know, Harriet was Robert Jordan's wife and editor.
That is correct. She, is an amazing editor. Sometimes people don't realize she edited many other things besides The Wheel of Time, including Ender's Game.
Oh,
she gets a nice credit in the thing. She edited Father Andrew Greeley's books, the Gears books, Fred Saberhagen, so many. She's
cool.
a big time editor, but she was married to him, of course.
Right.
He was her favorite
writer.
And just for clarification, Harriet was an editor before meeting Robert Jordan, and then they became married after she was his editor for Wheel of Time?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Just like to make sure.
No. They got married before the Wheel of Time. She was his editor for the Fallon books and some Conans.
Yeah.
Okay. Good for clarification. I do have a question. I want to jump back in the timeline, though, real quick, because you said you started off in the filing room, basically, with Robert Jordan, right, for sorting mail.
That's Brett's dream. Brett's also
that'd be
a
fantastic.
Brown.
I would love to categorize books, but and the world was a different place back then. How did you get that job? How did you come about that job? How did was it? What did
An
you?
ad in the newspaper?
Was there an ad? Did you reach out?
No,
Did
no,
you? Okay.
no. It's essentially almost nepotism.
Okay.
Okay.
Harriet's aunt married my husband's great uncle
Okay.
way back in the day. So they're not actually related.
Okay.
But in Charleston, we call that they have cousins in common. And so we call them shirt tail cousins because they're just kind of hanging on.
Yeah. Okay.
Kind of like how
The
Elaine
Rand and
Rand
Elaine.
are
Yeah. It's your cousin, but not really.
Mutual cousin had a big party, and we were there. My husband and I and Harriet and Jim were there in formal dress, and Jim and I talked, and then Harriet came and we talked. And I got a message from my mother-in-law a couple of days later. Jim Rigney called. He has work for you.
That's
Okay.
fantastic. Okay.
And I showed up, and Harriet has a lovely stone out front, and one side says welcome. The other side says go away.
Yeah.
Go away was facing the day I showed up, and I was
Oh
like,
my goodness.
do they mean me? What do I do? Oh no. And I finally went and knocked on the door.
Good.
And Jim and I talked, and it was very basic. I was going to answer the fan mail and do some filing. And then the deal came through to do the audio books. They'd done abridged ones before, and I'm sorry, you can't do abridged audio books of Wheel of Time.
No.
So, and they decided to do, the male point of view was done by a man, and the lady's point of view done by a woman. And somebody had to mark all the changes.
Oh, and that was you.
And that was me. It's like, woo-hoo, I'm getting paid to read the Wheel of Time.
There you go. That's the dream.
How can you beat that?
Yeah.
So, I did that, and it just kept escalating from there.
There you go.
That's
Lovely.
very cool. Yeah.
Okay. Now we are in the middle of our book recap and review episode for the Knife of Dreams. And so as we close the Knife of Dreams, we're talking about how that was Robert Jordan's final book that he wrote kind of on a solo venture. And so we're wondering if you can explain the process of choosing a new author to complete the series. How much input did Robert Jordan have? Were you and Harriet involved in those types of decisions? How did that all come about?
Robert Jordan was not involved because until the very end, he said he was going to survive amyloidosis. But a few weeks before his death, he had done some work on A Memory of Light because he was insisting it would be one book. He'd done some work, but things were kind of stalled because he was really sick. His cousin Wilson was visiting and family. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Jim turned to Wilson and said something. I don't want to spoil because it is a spoiler for the later, but it was a secret. Something is a secret. And then all of a sudden, Jim started spilling how the book was going to go. Harriet and her dear friend Lise had legal pads, and they were writing as fast as they could. And then Jim had to take a break, and Wilson ran off to the Walmart to get a tape recorder. Good. And then Jim recorded 2 prologues that were used in the last 3 books. Honest to goodness, Jim said he was going to make it. I believed him. Denial is not just a river in Egypt. But, we lost him. And almost immediately, everybody was suggesting somebody to finish the books. And some of them were kind of ridiculous. If they're way behind on their own books, it's probably not a good idea to give them another assignment.
A big one, at that.
But while we were between Jim's death and the funeral, we had a lot of people in the house. And Elise Matheson, who was a good friend of Jim and Harriet's, was there. And she found something she thought was touching on the internet and gave it to Harriet. And it was by this young writer named Brandon Sanderson about how much he loved The Eye of the World and Robert Jordan. And it was just lovely. And it turns out, he was published by Tor.
Right.
So she called Tom Doherty and said, what do you think about him? And he's like, you want to read one of his books? And so she said, yeah. And so he sent the first Mistborn, which at that point was just called Mistborn. Now it has another name. I'm blanking on it. Mm-hmm. And Harriet got it, and she started reading it, and she fell asleep.
Oh.
And as she reports, that wasn't because she was
right.
bored.
I was wondering. I was like, oh.
It was because she felt confident that he was in control of the story. The next day, when I got to work, she handed me the book and said, read the first 50 pages and tell me what you think. And so I went and sat by the fish pond and read 50 pages and went in and said, I think it's great. And she said, okay. And I said, can I take it home and finish it? And so she decided to talk to Brandon, and she called information and got a number for Brandon Sanderson in Utah, and called and got a woman and said, I need to talk to your husband about writing the Wheel of Time. And the woman is like, I have no idea what you're talking about. My husband's a plumber.
Okay.
Or
wrong Brandon
not
Sanderson.
necessarily a plumber. I don't remember what it was. And then Harriet was like, oh, maybe I should call Tor and get his number.
Probably.
And so she called him, and Brandon felt the need to later tell her, really, I can talk, because he was just kind of overwhelmed. I mean,
yeah,
absolutely. That's
a big deal.
I swear it all worked out perfectly, but there was never really anyone else seriously considered to finish the series.
Okay. Interesting. Now, how much involvement or storyline preparation was Robert Jordan able to make for the ending of the series? Were there some like non-negotiables he like wouldn't let go of? And
with the notepads and the tape recorder.
Well, just let's start with the notes themselves.
Okay.
Literally thousands of pages of notes he had. And some things, he told me they were going to spoil me. Some things were definitely non-negotiable. This is going to happen.
Right.
Other things.
And obviously we can't get into like specific details.
No, we'll have you back on when I finish the series. How about that?
Yeah.
That sounds good. Some things, when we would be talking about how it was going to work out, he would say to me, I'd ask him a specific question. He would say to me, I don't know yet. I haven't worked that out. So it was still flexible for him up until his death. But there were certain things that from the notes and from the legal pads and the tape recordings, this is definitely going to happen.
Good.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I'm excited for the end of the series recap where we can like really talk.
I know, yeah.
Scene
I know.
for scene, walk me through.
My curiosity is piqued for sure. Now, do you have a favorite story or a memory of Robert Jordan that you'd just like to share with our audience?
Yeah, it can be personal, it can be book related. It's whatever you want to share for people who didn't get to experience,
I have so many. And I think I'm going to tell the one Harriet always makes me tell.
Okay.
Because she loves it. So I was working for Jim. I had 2 small children and a rabbit. And one day we needed to take the rabbit to school for show and tell for a kindergartner. So we took the rabbit for show and tell, and the rabbit was obviously terrified. Mm-hmm. So it's like I couldn't leave him there the whole day. Everybody got to see the rabbit. I took him to work with me, and I put him on a table in the room going into Jim's office. And Jim happened to come in the office about then, and he looked at the rabbit and said, "Oh, that's a fine looking rabbit. He looks really, really in good shape. I haven't had rabbit stew in a long time." And I looked at him and I said, "If you touch one hair of my rabbit, you will never find anything again. I can make it happen." And he was like, "Whoa."
That's my pet.
Harriet really loves that story. I had a real problem saying no for a long time. So they called me spinally challenged. Oh. So when I actually stood up and defied Robert Jordan, he was really impressed. It was kind of fun.
Oh, good. And it's no, you can't eat my pet rabbit.
No, you cannot have my bunny.
That's great.
Oh, that's really funny. All right. Well, we really appreciate you joining us. We just have one more question to ask. If you have any message you would like to share with new readers and longtime readers alike, what would you like to share with the fans of Robert Jordan and the Wheel of Time who might not otherwise get to hear things that you have to say?
Just welcome to the family. It has now been proven that Wheel of Time fandom is statistically the best.
Nice.
Fandom. I never doubted it before. We have a fabulous fandom, and we just want more lovely people in it. So come on in.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Fandom related, I suppose. For the record, 2024 JordanCon coming up. You told us before we started recording because I couldn't wait.
Yeah.
But will you be at JordanCon 2024? Yes or no?
God willing, and the creek don't rise.
Right.
I've got a room, and I plan to be there.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Well, I will see you on the dance floor.
Yes.
I remember the only picture that we have together. You probably don't remember because you're meeting all sorts of new people, but the only picture we have was dancing to Footloose on the dance floor together.
I had so much fun dancing last year. Oh my gosh.
It's a good one.
It was so much fun.
It was lots of fun. It was so good. So we really appreciate you taking the time out to chat with us. I could just talk to you all night, seriously, but well, you know your time is precious.
So we'll let you go for now, but thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Okay, and we're back. And for the record, Maria did say she was willing to come on again for more interviews in the future.
Yes.
So
for more spoilery stuff.
I know.
I know she has such good information.
She does, and we couldn't because you. But anyways, that's fine.
Because it's me. It's my fault. It absolutely is.
But in the future, we're gonna work on that.
Cool.
So
that was really neat. Thank you so much, Maria, for coming on. We really appreciated it.
Absolutely. So before we get into the main plot lines of Knife of Dreams.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. Lots of stuff happens.
That's what I've been saying.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Let's take a break and then we'll come back to it.
Sounds good. Okay, so we're back, and now we are officially going to talk about Knife of Dreams and what happened in it.
Right. Okay. So, in no particular order, I wrote down all the things that happened in this book.
Okay.
So, I want you to just pick a character you want to talk about, and we'll just go from there. Who do you remember having the most fun with this book?
Probably Matt.
Okay.
Quite honestly.
There we go. So, let's start off with their boy, Matt.
Yep.
Because he did come across a couple of really important things in this book.
Yes.
You tell me, what's the biggest thing you remember from this book about Matt?
We got married.
That's the biggest thing that stood out to you? Is that because it's the most recent thing?
Yeah.
That just
Well, that's the big thing. That was the prediction that I got right. So that felt good, you know?
Okay. That's actually true. You did say that at the last book recap.
I said it. You
said
Matt will marry Tuan.
Okay.
In this book. I said it would happen. And then more specifically, in this book, I said when what's-his-face Death Watch guy gets to Matt, that's when she's going to say, we're married.
Yes, you were right about...
that was specifically good.
You were a little bit wrong on some of the details.
Mostly right.
But you were right, so I'm going to give you points. But I don't think I remember you saying, oh, and because of that, he's going to become Prince of the Ravens.
I
don't
even
think
know
you said
Prince
that.
of the Ravens. I didn't know that. Of course I didn't say that.
Right, exactly. So
yeah.
I was kind of looking for that. You could just spit it out. Be like, oh, obviously, Shanshin, totally into the whole Ravens thing.
No.
Maybe you could come up with that just on the spot. No?
No.
Okay. That's fine.
I didn't do it. I didn't do that. But I'm giving myself some pretty good credit for that. I also think it's funny because I listened to our Crossroads of Twilight recap episode.
Sure.
And some of the things I was talking about in there.
Did you do more good stuff for
funny.
Matt?
Well, I just think it's interesting that I noted that KoD had started his mission to find Tuan at the beginning of Crossroads of Twilight.
Okay.
And so here we finally have him succeeding in his mission to get
it's
Tuan.
Full circle.
Yes.
Which again is hilarious because it's
Two
the details.
full books though. That's how long that took.
Yes.
In case anyone's wondering.
Yeah, I do have to say one of my favorite things in Knife of Dreams is the whole Tom Marilyn 007 spy agent. It's a non thing. It doesn't even matter. It has literally nothing to do with anything except for the fact that KoD mistakes who he's looking for. There's nothing else at stake about that misunderstanding.
Some pretty top choice comedic relief.
It is.
That he has all the information and just classically comes to the wrong conclusion every time.
That's a good way to put it too, the comic relief, because there's no implication, there's nothing bad that happens to him because he has wrong information. Usually you see wrong information means you're going to get killed.
Yep.
But for this guy, it's he walked into the right camp, the right place, the right campfire because Matt ends up coming up.
Yeah.
goes a little too far in Matt's understanding.
And Tom's like, nope.
Not me, that guy.
No, exactly, right? Yeah, no, it is. It's quite lighthearted.
It is.
In his inability to get things right.
Yeah. You know what? We actually, and coming back to the whole Matt getting married, the lead up to the getting married part, we did have a lot of Matt and Tuon relationship building. I don't know if you like it particularly, but like we did have a lot because they got to spend a lot of time in the circus.
Yeah.
Talking.
I realized people can't see me. I gave a non-committal shrug.
That was the most non-committal shrug.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, okay, whatever, don't care. But
got a zebra? Was that in this book?
The razor?
Yeah. Could have happened in Crossroads of Twilight. That's the thing about these books.
Because it was the stave and a razor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. This book. The horse, the zebra. There you go.
Yep.
Good job. See, and you say nothing happened this
book. Some ghosts. We saw some ghosts.
We're still talking about Matt, though. That's true. We did.
Didn't Matt see ghosts?
Yeah,
Didn't they melt into the road?
There was a whole ghost village.
That happened this book. Yeah. Because I had a whole thing at the end of last book where I was like, these ghosts have to either do something or get out. And you talked about how I could be a really good ghost hunter.
Yeah.
Because I'm just going to shame the ghosts into leaving if they're boring.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And so I feel like the ghosts had a moment and we figured out that, the ghost means something. And then we didn't really hear about ghosts again for a while. So now I'm upset.
Okay, but no, there has been a lead up and we have had a few smart people like Aes Sedai that we don't totally hate who are saying ghosts are one of the main indicators to like the last battle being a thing right now because the veil is thinning. And I've been talking about this for a while now.
Yep,
so
yep.
It's important, but they don't have to be like spooky haunty ghosts necessarily.
I know. I just wish they were like a little more interesting. I like the whole village melting into the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't like it. Like that's scary
and
stuff.
Sure.
But like as an interesting thing to happen in this book.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Interestingly, at work today, we were talking about ghosts. Anyways, I'm being judged because I don't believe in ghosts.
Ah, yes. I also judge you for not believing in ghosts.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yep.
Okay. Anyways, not the point of this. A couple other things kind of floated around the Matt plotline that make me really like this book. Number one, Aludra really stepping up her canon game. We get to see like a lot of like
dragon eggs.
Yeah, behind the scenes stuff, and she's like really stepping it up. We got the whole murder cylinder things, like the shrapnel bombs. Like Aludra's becoming a force to be reckoned with.
But
with
sort
her
of
cannons.
like undercurrent.
Yeah.
In the background, you could easily miss that.
For sure. But that's again why I like this book is because there's like a bunch of tiny little things. We also have Matt reuniting with the band of the Red Hand. It's been so long.
So good. Telmanis.
Oh, man.
We got him back. I've been asking about that.
Right.
When's that going to happen? So here we go.
How's it going to happen? When are they going to meet up? It'd sure be nice if they met up now. And then you get it. And they're like, hey, we're here.
Great. And we got these super cool crossbows that are going to help you in every situation you're ever going to be in from now on.
And we recruited a bunch more people.
Tons.
Got a way bigger army now. So
Tons
cool.
More.
Bring Matt Bin.
Set up in a really great spot with some kings who are helping us out.
Yeah. And this is, again, the book where we got to see a little bit of Matt being a badass battle commander.
Yeah.
In, like, the Shido Kyrian campaign. That's when it all started. But, like, this book really highlights Matt and his battle commander skills.
Yes.
Reminder, he's the son of battles.
Yeah.
Right? He has the title.
Says who?
The Snake People.
Oh.
Because they were like, go to Ruidian, son of battles.
Yeah, right.
Go, trickster, go, gambler. They gave him all these cool nicknames.
Right, yeah.
He's the literal son of battles.
Son of battles.
It's cool.
Okay.
And now he's super good about it.
Yeah, and now he's Maoweed.
Mm-hmm. There's one other super important thing that happened in this book that you've forgotten about. Oh, yeah. Like crazy important. Like maybe the most important thing.
See, that's how I know that you're...
Oh, no, I'm not. No, this is not. I'm not being sarcastic.
Yeah, right. You're always the most sarcastic person I've ever met.
You're going to hate this. Okay, it has to do with someone who disappeared in your favorite book.
Maureen! Oh, duh. Yeah. So a prediction was Maureen's coming back this book.
Yeah, you did say that. You're like 100%.
Which kind of she did.
Oh, you are not getting it.
A letter from Maureen.
It wasn't from
revealed.
her, it was revealed. It was given.
And that counts.
Okay.
But that was so long ago. We're in December. It's almost the holidays. I read that when we were camping.
Yeah.
In
the summer.
June.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Matt
I
asks,
remember specifically because you tried to record me while I was reading that chapter.
You give terrible reactions.
Yeah, I just read a book.
You just read it. Yeah, like an
Sometimes
idiot.
I throw a book.
Just in your head. And you're like, reading all the words in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, okay, so Matt asked Tom specifically about the letter from Moraine, and that was the cue to give Matt the letter.
Yeah.
And then Tom's like, hey, let's go rescue Moraine. And then he's like, yeah. And then nothing happens.
Okay, so I said last time that Matt needs a purpose. He's just wandering around, joined the circus, has no real idea where he's going or why. He's escaped, and now what? And here, this Moraine letter, this plot point, gives him a purpose.
Yeah, you also said that he should go be Elaine's, like, Captain General, though.
After this, though. Now that's taken a side seat.
Moraine first.
Moraine seat.
Then go help
Moraine
Elaine.
first,
because Brigida's like, I hate this job. And
yes, she does.
Gawain.
I think Gawain might show up.
Where is he?
I think he might show up.
Gawain is never here today.
Okay, is this a transition?
Sure. Into?
Elaine?
Sure. Why not?
First, though, 2 predictions surrounding Matt.
Okay, go.
First, I think Noel might be Jane Farstrider somehow.
He's the cousin of Jane Farstrider.
Yeah, I think he might actually be Jane Farstrider, and he's just like taking a new identity. That guy was my cousin, you know? Hey, you kind of look like Jane Farstrider. Yeah, but I'm not.
I'm his cousin.
Yeah, right? So
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking.
It's like, hey, man, you know a lot about...
He's just too weird and shifty for me, for him to actually be who he says he is.
Okay.
So that's my new thing on that.
We need to talk more about that, I feel, at a later
never.
point.
It's fine. I feel like I've mentioned it before.
Yeah, but again, like, I prefer when theories have some sort of, like, backing. Like, why?
Sometimes it's just a gut, man. It's just gut feeling.
Okay, yep. No, that's fair. Okay. Continue with your book report.
My other thing is we gotta watch out for Jolene because she gonna steal your man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
I'm worried she's gonna force bond Matt.
She's gonna attempt... And again, how is that gonna happen? Because the whole...
I don't know. It was just some weird, eerie foreshadowing.
Okay, so Jolene. Problem. A la Alana.
A la Alana.
Yeah.
Except it was Tesla who said it, I think.
Tesla,
Watch out for Jolene. And so...
Yeah.
I just wish I knew who to trust.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's going forward.
Okay.
Gotta worry about that.
Okay.
Elaine.
So she's pregnant.
Still?
Yep.
Because it's been like a week. Right?
Yes.
Isn't like
We're
2
still...
weeks? It's in 6 months of real time.
Yeah. You know what's actually funny? This book, I'm pretty sure that the food that she's been being fed is getting better.
Well, because of her new midwife who said that she's allowed to eat food again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because like previous one was like no food, all disgusting.
Yes.
And now she's like, oh, feasting, it's great.
Yeah.
And yes, there's weevils everywhere, but like at least it's better food.
You know,
so that's cool.
I just wish the bugs meant more, you know? Why do I care about these bugs so much?
Yeah, they're evil. Anyways, okay, so Elaine also... Okay, I bet you forgot this. She got a super cool dagger Terangriel from Avienda.
I did forget about that.
Because they had the whole collection of Terangriel
the bronze bear situation.
Yeah, exactly. Bronze bear and a dagger Terangriel that it does something.
I did forget about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes you... Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Elaine, cool move, taking down David Hanlon. Bad move, attacking... a dark friend, Black Aja house.
So many people getting murdered because of you and your actions.
Yeah.
And then getting kidnapped because of it.
Yeah. Or other way around. Getting kidnapped and people died because of it.
Yeah. Anyways. But also, we did get the end to the murder mystery of who murdered Adelius.
We did get the end to that.
You do not get points for that.
1,000% wrong.
Oh, yeah. Not even close.
So I have 2 major wrong predictions in this book.
Yeah.
And they both concern Elaine.
Interesting.
Yes.
What was the other one?
Dylan was going to turn on Elaine.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Remember when I thought that? When Brigida didn't like Dylan?
You've always been against her, though. Like, even...
I'm not against her. I'm just wary.
Okay.
But yeah, who murdered Adelius? Very wrong.
Okay.
But I think that my theory still stands.
That's one of those theories. So that's the thing. That's one of those theories that I talk about sometimes, that you come up with like a really good rationale for it that I appreciate listening to, even though it's completely wrong. And it's like, 0% right, and I can't even really support it. I like it because there is some semblance of like, I thought this through. Mm-hmm. You know? That's what I like. Anyways, it was Carrie Ann. I like the fact that Van Dien got her vengeance before also being killed. Yep. Because I think Van Dien was cool with tapping out right now. Like, she got the vengeance. She did it. And, you know, we're done. Yes. See you later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But Dylan doesn't turn on Elaine and actually is the reason that she becomes queen.
Exactly.
Which leads me to my next right prediction, because at the end of Crossroads of Twilight, I said in this book, Elaine is getting the throne.
You did.
That's getting wrapped up.
You know, and I'll give you points for that, but I just want to say...
I said it like 5 different times.
You've waffled between, I don't even think Elaine should have the throne.
I still don't think she should
like,
be
does
queen.
she even need
I
to
still
be
think
queen?
that Dylan should be queen.
Yeah.
I don't think Elaine should be queen.
See, Dylan doesn't want to be queen. And don't you want a queen who wants to be queen?
Yes, 1,000%.
Because Dylan would be like, hate
Although
it.
Ari Milla wants to be queen, and she sucks. So,
well, who knows? Maybe she would be good for the country.
Nope.
Who's to say? Who even knows?
I am to say.
Okay. Anyways, we did come out with some huge wins from Elaine, and I do love this book because, again, plot lines wrapping up. We are done the Elaine for Mayor campaign.
What's going to happen next? Like, I'm at this point where I don't even know what to predict or what to expect.
We kick back and retire.
Well, no, because we have a lot of actually things that are happening around Elaine. Like now we have some random red Aes Sedai advisor who thinks that she's going to come in and advise Elaine.
Yeah.
And also says return to the tower.
Right.
To continue your training
There's
even though
other
you're
stuff.
the
Now she's
queen.
got to do the queen stuff to get ready for the last battle.
And I'm wondering if now that Morgase is officially rescued, which we'll get to like later, if she'll hear about Elaine winning the throne and return to Camelin.
Okay.
Now that she knows it's kind of safe for her to return.
You have thrown that idea around of Morgase coming back.
Yeah.
If that happens, is that going to be a good thing for Elaine? Or, like, is Morgase going to be stepping on toes?
No.
And like, Mom, I'm queen now,
she
go away.
She whispered to the air, Brett.
She did, but like
she whispered out the window.
Well.
She told that window.
You know how mums be sometimes, though. And sometimes mums coming back, they're like, and you're like, Mom.
So she's like Queen Regent, right? That's how that works?
I don't even know.
Maybe if the Aes Sedai make Elaine go back to the tower, then Morgase will just be like Queen Regent for a little while. Or something crazy.
Substitute queen? How does that work?
I'm not really sure.
It's like a term position, you know? It's fine. Okay, but again.
I do appreciate that Elaine, no matter how painful it was for me, the reader, to experience, she certainly did claw her way to this throne independently.
She did.
She did not accept it from Rand when she probably should have.
Yeah, she did not accept help from allies.
Use her mommy's name. Like, it's not like her mom is like there and like fighting for her or like in some way, you know? It's not like, oh, her mom was in really great standing in the community and then passed away of a heart attack. And then everyone's like, oh, Elaine's our new queen. And no problem.
Can I counter it with some bad decision making, though?
Oh, yeah. Well, there was tons of that. I'm just saying she got there on her own.
She did, but
against all odds and against any like really good decision making.
Sure.
She got there.
I mean, she's like a channeler. She had wind finders. She had all sorts of magic stuff.
She used those to her discretion when she wouldn't use armies that wanted to help her.
It's just like it's a weird.
She picked and chose what she what she wanted to.
That's the weird thing. She won't accept the military help from the Saldeans or from the Aiel, but she'll hire the foreigner mercenary groups and then like
be surprised that they're going to turn on
her. When you like refuse to pay them or stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then you
refuse to pay them more.
And then you use foreign channelers like the kin and the sea folk, like you're literally using foreign armies just in a different fashion.
Yeah.
It's just like it is what it is.
It's politics.
I guess so. Here we go. It's optics.
Anyway, I was trying to give Elaine some props.
I know, and I wanted to take that away just a little bit. But we're done now. We're done with Elaine.
Okay.
Oh, no, we're not done with Elaine.
Oh.
We came out with some pretty big wins. Besides taking the throne, she has a bunch of captured Dark Friend Black Aja Aes Sedai.
Oh.
And David Hanlon, freaking Doyle and Malar, is captive. And you did say that already, but like, geez.
That actually makes me nervous.
That they're all like captive and not just dead?
Yeah.
Because you should probably just like kill them.
And if she's going to like turn them over to the White Tower.
Yeah.
Then
how's that? That's
the Black Aja there are just going to like let them free or something.
Yep. Okay. So how is that part going to wrap up? Is it going to go good or bad?
I just have a bad feeling
You
about
got a
it.
bad feeling. Okay.
Yeah.
You said trust
and
your gut,
I
right?
said that when we captured them.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I just kind of wish they were dead.
Just like, take them out.
I
Take
just
them out
kind
right
of
now.
wish that because
There's no information
I don't
they
like
have.
when our very bad people
Yeah.
are just captives.
Yeah,
It
I get
doesn't
that.
turn out well for us
No.
typically. So
No, it doesn't.
I have a bad feeling going forward
Yeah.
about that for Elaine.
Okay.
How's
I like
that?
it. I like it.
Now, is Rand going to find out that Elaine is pregnant with his babies?
Ooh, well, it's a pretty big secret right now.
I know. At some point, she's going to be visibly pregnant.
Is he going to see her?
Yeah, maybe.
When?
Well, I don't know. You can't just like bond someone and have a relationship with them and then not see them for like a full 9 months. Like, I'm sure she'll still be pregnant when it's the last battle, probably.
Okay,
At this
here's a
point,
question. Yeah,
yeah.
but that's also the question because we are going at a snail's pace here
Oh, gosh.
for how much time has passed between different books.
I know.
Like, we're like 2 months, 3 months since like 4 books ago. It's crazy.
Yes, yeah.
So,
The cleansing was like a month ago.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. But again, that's a whole like
Maybe
9
not.
months.
I don't actually know. I'm just throwing out stupid things.
9 months to have babies. Like, when in the scheme of the last battle are these babies coming before the last battle?
Yes.
Okay.
On the slopes of Dragon Mount.
Boom, full circle. I like it. That's very Robert Jordan to be like full circle of stuff like that.
Yeah, because she's trying to like battle or something. Because she's the green Aja.
She is. She is. She's not a gray. She's not a politician at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
She just wants more than one warder.
Yeah.
So she has to be green. It's law.
Unless they're channelers, in which case she could be red Aja. Because that's a new rule for the Reds.
Oh.
They can have multiple channeler warders.
Yes. And Elaine does have that.
But she
One
also has
of them.
Brigida.
That's also breaking all customs, so I don't think it matters.
It's a woman warder. It fits.
It fits.
It fits.
It's a different thing.
So, officially on the books, Elaine.
Nah, she
she's
wants
switching.
to be a battle.
She's
I don't
switching to
know.
Red Aja. Calling it right here.
She should, yeah.
Okay.
You're right.
Love it.
It was empty. It's fine. Well, mostly empty. It's just a little drips. It's
Who
fine.
could have foreseen it falling when it was balanced on top of the couch cushion? Not me. Okay, so transitioning Elaine adjacent because of, I guess,
Yeah, who are we talking about next?
Galad. He has one of my favorite things that happens with Galad in this book.
From the prologue.
He kills Aemon Valda.
In the prologue. Because
Yeah.
I was like, what White Cloak thing? Like, what Galad thing? What are you talking
Yeah.
about? Oh, that is
He kills
good.
Aemon Valda because of
What
accusations
a
about what he
strong
does.
opening.
It's so
This
good.
book had a good opening.
It was amazing. So now it's basically Galad and his little faction of White Cloaks versus Asunawa, who is like sort of aligned with the Shanshin in a weird way.
Yeah, but then even the Shanshin are like,
They
what's
suck.
going on with that guy?
Yeah, and we get like this tiny little reference to the fact that Galad's taken off with like several thousand of the White Cloaks who are like kind of deserters from the Shanshin.
Right.
And that weird alliance. So now, what's happening? What's Galad doing with his White Cloaks?
I don't even know.
Love it.
I couldn't even answer that if I wanted to.
He's somewhere.
I forgot that happened.
Yeah, he's doing
So-
something. It's just
so
like
how's
such a
that?
it's an amazing scene. I love it, and it's Elaine adjacent because they're related technically, even though she hates him.
I
But
hate that guy.
he's pretty cool. He's pretty cool.
Even like, yeah, that was a cool scene. That was great.
Yeah, I like Galad. Don't shrug like that. No one can see that.
Should we start video podcasting?
No, we shouldn't. No. Okay.
All right, before we jump into the next thing, I think we take a quick break from here
Yeah.
and then come right back.
Refill that drink you didn't spill.
Right. All right, so we are back.
Yes.
And tell us, who are we talking about next?
One of the biggest plot lines, I think, in the book.
File.
Yeah, File and Perrin, and it gets resolved.
Yes, it
And
does. Finally.
You get points for that.
I do get points.
Because this time you were right.
I know. The amount of times at the end of a book I said, next book, this will wrap up.
There's no way this could keep going.
Yep. Nope. I eventually was right.
Yeah.
My stick-to-itedness paid off.
That's right. That's right.
Yes, that's what we call that. Except I was pretty accurate in how it would end.
You do get some points, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it was like a really slow build up and burn for this.
No, and honestly, a lot of arrows pointed me in the direction
Sure.
of this happening.
Yeah.
But I said in the last recap that I wanted the Shido wiped out.
Right.
And I said it didn't even matter to me how Fail actually escaped, because you were trying to get me to say,
Yeah.
is it Perrin? Is it Roland? Is it she herself?
We've literally had multiple rescue plans in action for books.
Yes.
Perrin's trying to do it.
Yeah.
Fael's trying to do it on her own. Roland's helping. Galena's
Yes.
doing her weird thing.
Yes.
Like, we have so much happening.
Yes. And I said, honestly, I don't care if the Shido are attacked and Fael gets to escape during that attack.
Yeah.
Then I'll be good. I'll be happy, because I want the Shido kind of wiped out. And if it happens to be Perrin attacking the Shido, then great.
Yeah.
But if not, whatever. And so, yeah, I did mention Perrin attacking the Shido with the Shanshen's help.
Yes.
Because that is sort of what we were led to believe at the end of last book.
Again, slow burn with the build-up and the alliance and the... Yeah.
And then we had to go visit a manufactory. And then we had to go see a ghost town.
The winnowing of the wheat and the...
Oh, Jesus. That did happen in this
winnowing
book.
the weevils
See,
of the...
that's what made this book bad. It wasn't Elaine's politics.
But the alliterations are amazing, and I love them.
It was Perrin's plotline.
It was.
That really didn't do this book any favors.
Yeah, but I also love this book because we get a lot of the plot lines that are dragging on. They get resolved, and then we don't have to worry about it anymore.
You know what I feel so bad for? All the people who had to walk and spend like a whole night in an aqueduct.
Right.
For it to result in nothing.
No, it got them inside the city. See? I'm not re-explaining this one to you. And they didn't walk. It was a water slide. And I'm sticking to that.
No, they had to trudge through it.
For the first little... It's like at the top of the water slide. You gotta like scoot your butt. Because it's and then once you get going, it's like...
No.
You're flying. You're flying down.
They were in there walking the whole time.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, they're trying not to slip and slide on the algae.
Okay. Anyways, besides that...
Yeah.
We can't...
The Shido were attacked and Fael gets out.
That does happen, but other things also happen. Number one, Aram, who you've been shady about. Aram not only turns evil and tries to kill Perrin, and almost does.
He doesn't turn evil. He always has been.
He hasn't always been evil.
He's been mostly always evil.
He was corrupted by Massima.
Easily, though. I always tell salespeople, it's easy to sell me something I want.
Well, when,
I literally say that.
I know you do. That's why salespeople keep getting all of our money.
Yeah, because I want lots of things, and I have a shopping problem. Gosh.
Okay.
Relax,
anyways,
okay?
Relax.
Do you like your hot tub or what?
Yeah. Okay. Besides the point, I can blame Perrin for Aram because he really did. I mean, again, it's not his... Okay,
Perrin
I'm going to go back and forth.
It's so much else going on.
Okay.
Aram was not his responsibility.
It's not. And I agree with that.
Although some people think it really should have fallen on Perrin.
I understand that point of view because also Perrin, you have some leadership responsibilities, and he really threw everybody else under the bus.
Everyone.
To get his wife back.
No one else mattered.
That's true, and I understand that. But I can't really fault him that much for it. Because,
yes, I can.
I mean, no, I could, but I won't. I really blame Aram's grandparents, Rain and Nyla. They're the problem.
Well, it's the way of the leaf. If that's really how you're going with this, Brett.
Yeah, I'll blame that too. That's fine. I'm okay with that. Anyways, that's not the point of this. Anyways, Aram gets murdered, kind of like a Disney character, an evil Disney character does.
Yeah.
Through no fault of Perrin, Aram dies.
Absolutely. That was a Disney death.
Yeah.
Out of all the deaths this book.
That was
the one. The most Disney death.
Perrin even falls back and is like, no.
Yeah.
Because he's going to get murdered.
Yeah.
Aram totally would have killed Perrin.
No, Perrin would have killed... Perrin would have killed him, for the record.
Nuh-uh. Nope.
Yes, he would have.
No heckin' way.
Because Perrin needs to find his wife.
He was tripping over a rock or something.
He was going to.
Fine. Anyways,
I thought that's what was happening in that scene.
Not only does Aram die in the attack.
Yes, Massima doesn't.
Massima doesn't, but also Roland gets his head bashed in by Perrin, who was building quite the relationship with Fael, and then Fael's like, Perrin, and then Roland's like, and hesitates, and then Perrin smashes his head into little itty bitty bits.
That's true. That does happen.
And then Fael's just never going to have to tell anything because,
No, that'll come out again. Okay. That will come out. It'll be annoying that we're going to have to deal with that. Although, okay.
Yeah.
Here's my thing, though.
Okay, what's the thing?
I don't know how Brandon Sanderson writes Perrin and Fael's relationship.
That's true. Oh, okay.
So... Typically, I would predict that the next time we see Perrin and Fail, it'll be boring and slow moving and who knows what else.
Sure.
But we will for sure have to hear the fight and Perrin going, oh, I don't know how she thinks and what's going on in her head. And,
Yeah.
Because that's Perrin. But that's the way Robert Jordan writes.
And Brandon Sanderson is not Robert Jordan.
He is not.
So here's what I'm going to say.
It's going to be interesting.
He's a different author.
Yeah.
And things will be different than they would have been. That's what I'm going to say.
Well, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And that's something I recognize, but my predictions going forward are a touch more challenging to make, right?
And you can be like, oh, I would have gotten it right.
Yes.
Had Robert Jordan written it.
I'm always going to stand by that at this point.
I'm only wrong because I don't know Brandon Sanderson.
I feel like situations like that are going to come up.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, okay, this situation is weird because I didn't know how to predict it properly.
Yeah.
And otherwise, I would have gotten it right, and you're going to be like, yeah.
Yeah, there are some legit. This is not the time and place to talk about the next 3 books, but
no, because it's going to take me a little while to understand how to read into.
We're going to do a big thing at the beginning.
Brandon Sanderson's foreshadowing.
We're going to get into that. We'll have lots of time to discuss it. It's
going forward. It's going to be a new kettle of fish.
That's what they say, a kettle of fish.
That's what Swan says, probably.
Do you put the fish in the kettle?
Yeah, you boil
barrel of fish?
Kettle.
You put the fish in the kettle?
Yeah, like to make fish soup.
I feel like you just boil the water and then pour the... Anyways, okay, again, not the point. So...
How do you cook fish?
I don't know, not in a kettle.
Yes, in a kettle, that's the saying. Now we have to look it up. Way to go, Brett. Okay, so a whole new kettle of fish is a real saying, and it means to be completely different from something or someone else that has already been talked about.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. It's a whole new kettle of fish.
Okay.
And what's the meaning of it? It's awkward, difficult, bad situation, a muddle, a mess. He's managed to get himself into a fine kettle of fish.
Okay.
Anyway, it's a place that you cook fish, for sure.
Okay. Enough with the kettle of fish.
Okay, fine.
A couple more things I want to point out that I appreciated in this book, specifically about the Perrin and Fail plot lines. I really like the contrast of the Perrin rescue planning versus the Fail escape planning. Like, we got to see back-to-back chapters all the time.
Always.
But it was always
is tradition.
It was from a very different point of view. Like, Fail is literally like figuring out how she escapes on her own, not expecting Perrin to come for her.
Well, every once in a while she'd be like, why hasn't he rescued me yet?
But then she like shoves it down. She's like, no, I'm going to figure out how to do this. And she does. We got to give her tons of props. Phenomenal job. Relationship building. She gets like hundreds of people to be on her side within this like camp.
Fail's an excellent leader.
And then she's got like the Morges, the Alejandra, the Chafael. She's got all these people. She got that kid to basically do all the work.
Oh, yeah.
Like get the oath rod, save her from the murder basement that collapsed.
The Fail and Perrin relationship has grown on me, specifically because Fail as a character has grown on me.
Yeah.
And so now that they're back and reunited after books and books and books, I'll be interested to see how things progress for them.
Especially with the Barrelane thing coming back in, because Barrelane stepped off because Perrin was really struggling. He was struggling, and we'll see. We'll see where it goes.
I know you like Barrelane.
I do like Barrelane.
Because of her boobs.
What, the jugs?
The jugs.
Or the knockers?
The knockers.
That's what it was.
The knockers.
It's the knockers. You know whose uppance I was the most happy about it coming uppenst?
Oh, yeah?
Galena. Holy moly, does she get it?
That was great.
She gets it. Galena's the worst. And
I said I wanted Rand to be able to kill her.
You did say that,
and here's the thing, though. They have a little ways to travel. Because I'm glad the Shido are just, like, retreating, like, away from everybody.
The ones who are not captured as Damani. And, basically slaves now.
Yeah.
It's not good. Because the
No, it's not good. But at the same time, you absolutely cannot just, like, take slaves. And they did. They were compliant in that.
Yeah, I mean, the Shanshan are like, actually, we can. So that's the problem right now.
No, but I'm not feeling sorry for the Shido in any capacity.
Yeah.
It sucks. I was feeling bad for them. And now I just feel like I'm so done with you.
Yeah.
Shido.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Anyways, and they're going goodbye. From what it sounds like, they're going to sneak back into the waste and they're not coming out.
And if Galena's never heard from again, cool. Except I'm worried she'll either be escaped or unalived.
Right, okay.
by Forsaken in
Right.
some capacity, but it would be excellent if we could have Rand getting to face Galena.
Yeah.
Except then he'll have a whole thing about like not wanting to kill her because she's a woman.
In what capacity? And I think we did talk about that, what he would do.
Yeah. He'd
Anyways.
kill her and then just add her to the list.
Put her on the list and you're good to go.
Yeah. I think that her fate right now is actually better than Rand killing her.
Really?
Yeah.
I would argue that.
Really?
No,
Because you want Rand to have that closure?
No, I think that Rand killing... Wait, now I'm confused by what you said.
I think it's better.
That she's
for
captured?
Us. Better for us, not for Galena.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
better
yeah.
for us in terms of like just desserts.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's not going to be good for Galena.
No, it'll be
Tharawa's
terrible
captive.
for her.
It's going to be bad.
Oh, it's going to be horrible.
And like Galena is a bad person.
Yes.
Like she is objectively
horrible.
She signed her soul over to the Dark One.
I'm still incredibly incredulous.
Okay. Wow.
About her ability to maneuver a building just so that she can set a trap to push a timber and it collapses.
You don't hang around a lot of like collapsing buildings though. So like,
not enough. Not enough. But I'm still feeling like no.
Yeah. Okay. We're gonna do a real smooth transition from.
Here we go.
Oh,
I want to talk about Alejandra and Morghese. They escaped, and I'm happy about that.
Okay. Yay, Morghese. She did good.
Yeah.
Alejandra was like, "What's going on here?"
Yeah, she was the comedic relief. That
she was.
You love that. Okay, go on.
Okay, so Galena and all that with the capturing, and then we had Perrin teaming up with the Shanshin, right?
Yes, we did.
That was by Tylee. Here's the transition. Boom. Tylee got a promotion. Let's talk about the Shanshin. There you go. That's the transition for how we're going to talk about what the Shanshin did this book. So number one big thing that did happen, Semirog told Suroth that the Empress is dead.
Yep.
And that Shanshin's in chaos. And basically
the
launches the whole
Suroth plotline.
There's the whole
just
Suroth
fantastic.
2-on assassination plot. That ties into the whole math thing.
I liked the Suroth plotline.
Oh, man. That was good.
I liked her perspectives. It was like informative and interesting. And we learned about Semirog.
That's true. And it is really funny because we had like this tiny little Forsaken meeting.
Oh my god, can somebody please validate that they also had no idea who this other Shanshin lady was?
Oh, Anath, the true
And it was
speaker?
like, supposed to be obvious that's
Oh yeah, no. On a reread it's hilarious.
And even on a reread I think it's probably difficult to pick up and remember if you're not reading it like us.
Oh, that's
because
true, yeah.
Realistically, Semirog apparently, someone mentioned this on a comment or in the Discord or something. Semirog's in a meeting and
that's what I was gonna say, the Forsaken
is like,
meeting, yeah.
Here's Matt.
Yeah.
And then Semirog says, "Oh, that would have been useful a couple days ago."
Yeah, because literally Anath met Matt like 2 days ago.
But then somebody else says something in the Forsaken meeting and we move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's literally
that's it.
Because the new orders for the Forsaken are let's kill Matt and Perrin because F it.
I'm really bad at Forsaken.
Yeah.
I'm really good at a lot of things and I feel really good about predictions and stuff I'm making about main characters, but
Disguised Forsaken
is not my thing. No. I'm bad at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we still don't know who Missana is disguised as.
That's true.
I was like, give me that in Crossroads of Twilight. I was like, the one thing you could have given me.
Yeah.
And we just get some lady with blue eyes or something.
Yeah,
and
bronze hem.
Yeah, but we actually get the reveal.
Yeah.
But then we don't know who it is.
Which is
rude,
so
and
funny.
We still go this whole book not knowing who that is. Not a lot of Forsaken action.
No, not at all.
This book.
Literally like that meeting. And then,
more.
Besides the whole, we're not going to talk about this yet, but Semirog does a whole bunch of stuff. This book is not good.
In the behind the scenes, yeah.
She blows off Rand's hand.
Oh shit! I forgot about that.
Oh my goodness!
Okay, I didn't forget, but I forgot about that in this moment. Yes, she does do that.
Well, I don't want to talk about that yet.
Okay.
We're saving that.
Fine.
Okay. Anyways, back to the Shanshin, because the whole Suroth thing, I do love the ending of this book because it's the whole, again, Suroth gets to eat it because 2-on is back, baby. She's here. She's the daughter of the Nine Moons again.
Yeah, I like that wasn't dragged out.
The veil's off.
Yes.
Yes, let's do this thing.
Yeah.
But what I want to know is, Tuon now seemingly back in control of the Shanshan and presumably like the whole return. What does that mean now for the Shanshan who are in Randland? Like, what's the next move here? Because now Tuon's married to Matt, who's a Wetlander and friends with Rand, and Rand wants to have the meeting with the Shanshan still.
Well, that's why I'm still on board for a boys' slumber party.
We do. Okay. We did talk about that. Yep.
Now, something that we didn't talk about last episode that Chuck brought up in our Discord.
Okay.
They said that they wanted to point out the similar attitude by Tuon and Matt in their last perspectives.
Okay.
So at the end of chapter 36, Tuon no longer wishes to hide her identity and says, "If I die, I will die as who I am. I have removed the veil." And in chapter 37, Matt no longer wants to hide the band's identity. He says that he wants the banners raised and says, "This time we'll let them know who's killing them."
Yeah, that is a really good comparison.
Yeah, a nice little duality.
Yeah.
That I didn't pick up on. I missed that completely.
Married people got to be on the same team.
Well, I don't think that's it. It's just an interesting character duality.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know, a neat thing to point out. That didn't actually really have anything to do with what you were talking about, but
no, but that's okay. That's okay.
It. Yeah.
We can still point that out, so that's fun.
Okay, so Suroth, bad position.
Well, yeah, no, she's done.
Yep.
Is she done? Actually, I shouldn't say she's done because it seems final for her.
It
the same way Galena seems pretty final. Like
pretty final.
RJ kind of dusted the hands off and is like, we're done with these two.
Which is fine, because there were some that I was just waiting to be done with. So.
We got to move some pieces off the board here, because it's go time for the last battle.
We still got 3 whole big books.
It's the big guys. We got big guys coming up.
I'm not convinced that anybody at this point is done for good.
Okay.
But we can be done for a while, you know?
For now. Now. Okay.
Yep. Where are we going next?
Well, I figure we might as well transition from the Shanshan to Egwene.
Yeah.
Reason for it, Egwene, we didn't really get necessarily... Okay, you actually did predict that this plotline with Egwene in the tower was not gonna
I did
wrap
say
up.
That specifically.
You did
I said
waffle.
Everything would wrap up except the tower split. That was going to drag on and on.
Yeah, the reason why this transitions pretty well, because like basically the first thing Egwene does when she's in the tower is she's like, hey, I had the dream... I was dreaming that the Shanshan are going to attack
the White Tower.
And they're like, ha ha ha.
And a couple of people are like, oh, really?
Mm-hmm. And how far away are they? They couldn't possibly be here tomorrow. And anyways, it's like, well, that's not true.
That did happen in this book.
Yeah, that did. That did. So that's probably not good because, she's got the prophetic dreams.
Really interesting things happened with Egwene.
Yeah.
Except I remember telling you that I felt that Egwene's plotline should be sped up.
Sure. Okay.
So what we see in this book from Egwene, I believe, should have been the end of Crossroads of Twilight. And I still stand by that.
Okay.
Because Crossroads of Twilight, I think she should have been captured kind of in the middle of it.
Yeah.
To give some intrigue. And then her really taking over and being badass Egwene in her captivity could have been the end of Crossroads of Twilight. And I still stand by that that's a really good place to end. And then in this book, we could have had furthering of the White Tower plot. Because
so what does furthering of the White Tower plot look like to you? Because right now we've got Egwene. She's got people on her side.
Yes.
Like she does seem to be building relationships with Aes Sedai and the novices and Accepted. She's being beaten mercilessly at the same time.
Yeah, I want it to evolve.
Into what? Where do we go from here? We got we got the rebels outside the tower. Yeah.
We need Elaida taken down.
Okay.
We need the siege. We need to win the siege. We need the tower split to end. Not necessarily that it needed to end this book.
Sure.
But we needed to take some steps towards that. Because the only thing we saw in the rebel camp was the Ashaman showing up and saying, you can bond some of us.
Right. Which didn't really have a lot to do with the siege.
Nothing.
I want to talk about the White Tower and the siege and the split because I want to kind of get...
Halima. Don't forget to talk about Halima. Sorry, I just remembered that. I forgot that happened.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Halima, they bounced.
Yeah, I know.
And Delana.
Yeah.
They're out of here.
I know.
We almost had them. We were so close. Slipped through my fingers.
Yeah.
I want your opinion on how the tower split ends because we've got Egwene captured. We've got the negotiations basically at a standstill.
I'm waiting on Egwene to attend Elaida. I wanted to see that, and I'm worried I'm not going to see it now.
So
what if that's the prologue?
How is it gonna advance? Does Elida get overthrown by her own people?
Yes.
Do the rebels attack? Does
Yes.
Egwene do something crazy?
Yes, all of the above.
Okay.
All of those things need to happen in order for this to be successful.
Okay.
Because if a bunch of the people in the tower who are being fed this narrative that Elida should be taken down, nobody likes her, here's a list of Amerlins who have been taken down because nobody liked them.
We can do it again.
We can do it, right? That needs to happen. But then once that happens, then what?
Yeah,
right? It's almost like everything sort of has to line up rather simultaneously.
Yeah.
And because Egwene is still communicating with the rebel camp via Dream World,
right?
Not a lot to tell her around.
No, we didn't
We've
get to
sort
see
of
many
phased
meetings.
that right out, hey?
Yeah,
By
well,
the
not
way?
important.
Weird.
She's busy. She's busy in the real world right now.
Yeah,
with
we didn't
her...
get a lot of Egwene at all, or any, but...
Anyways.
Yeah, so I'm thinking all of those things have to come into place.
Right.
Because we have to have the White Tower on board with taking down Elida.
Yeah.
And that happening.
It seems pretty close.
While the rebel camp is like moving in.
Right.
So that we can all amalgamate and figure this out.
Okay.
Kind of thing.
And you're a hard no on the Amerlin scenario.
Hard no.
Where one's big picture stuff, one's day to day.
Yeah.
You're like, no.
I'm over that.
Okay.
Not on board. Turns out.
But
what I am on board with is the Black Aja hunters finding Alviarin. One day that'll happen.
Oh man, okay.
One day.
You know, they're working. They're doing their best.
They're doing okay.
Okay. I mean, sort of.
They're doing their thing. It's all right.
Yeah.
But now Egwene is here, and I want more Egwene infiltrating the tower stuff.
Yeah, okay.
We had like a really fast forward chapter. It was like 9 full days of all these things she was doing.
Yes, we did.
And then we left on a cliffhanger about how this was going to go. And I really want Egwene to play it cool and gather information or stab Elida.
You can't hedge like that. I want her to be awesome and chill, or the opposite of chill.
Yes, I want her to go in thinking she's going to be chill. I want her to go in thinking she's chill.
Yeah.
And then like literally steak knife
and
stab
she's like,
her.
F this. I'm over this.
Done. Yeah.
That's good. I like it.
I don't think it'll happen quite that way, but it would be cool. It'd be good. And I mean, all's fair, right?
Yeah.
At this point.
I guess that's the saying, sort of. Okay.
So I'm excited for that plotline moving forward, actually.
For sure. Now, on the opposite end of the White Tower, we got the Black Tower. We didn't get a heck of a lot except that, like, super creepy ending where we had Pavara and the 5 Red Sisters doing a super good job about handling the Black Tower.
Which I absolutely love, because I really didn't even anticipate them getting this far.
Oh, yeah.
Getting in there. But we have some heavy speculating to do on this entire Taim situation, who says a very specific Forsaken dark friend line.
Yeah. And then all of his buddies are like, ha 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 ha
ha. 100 of them.
Yeah,
Shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so when the Black Tower was first forming, early on, I was like, hey, watch out. Wherever there's going to be a bunch of people congregating, there are bound to be dark friends.
Which is fair, because Tashiva was, in fact, a Forsaken.
Yes.
Who was an Ashaman.
Yes.
So, you were right.
Yeah. Yes. I was about that.
Yeah.
And here we are, Taim, who right away made my hackles stand up, made the hairs on the back of my neck rise. Like, I was like,
just like Pavara.
I was
man.
Oh yeah.
At the end, she's like, oh, this is weird. This is not good. And it's like, yeah, Pavara. And this honestly, is bad.
Like, sorry guys. Sucks, I guess.
You're not gonna make it.
No, you are absolutely not gonna just bond every hundreds of Ashaman that you
don't
think
worry.
You can handle.
We changed our rules and we can bond as many people as we want
We're
to.
We're the only ones who can handle this.
We're not afraid of you.
It's like a big joke, honestly.
It is a big joke.
But Taim and his lackeys being clearly dark friends feels like a win to me, because I was like, I didn't trust that guy.
That's true. You haven't trusted him.
So even though he's not Demandred,
he's not a good guy.
He is 100% not a good guy.
He's a bad guy? He's a bad guy.
Oh, well, yes, he's a dark friend.
Okay.
If not like a Forsaken sidekick, you know?
Gotcha. Forsaken light.
Yes.
Like, yeah, okay, I get that.
Yes.
Like what Alviarn could have been had she not screwed
And
up
Suroth
royally.
could have been if she did not.
Well, yeah.
Suroth,
Can't channel, so like...
Suroth tried her best.
Yeah.
I give Suroth all the props, actually. I think that Suroth tried her best in her situation to do everything she could, and she got outplayed.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're not going to kill Matt Coffin's wife.
No, you are 100% not going to do that. The pattern says no, nay, not today. Count, Suroth, nay.
Hey, speaking of...
I was going to say no, not today, and then I said nay, so it came out together.
Let's switch it to Nynaeve.
What's Nynaeve? Oh, Nynaeve did one thing this book.
She had one thing to do this book, and it was the coolest scene.
It was a good one. It's the one that made everyone cry.
Good. I literally, still reading it today, typing out my notes, I got the chills. I gave myself the chills, typing out, like, Lan is coming.
Who will ride with him, right? That's the one?
Yeah, my husband is riding for Tarman Guide, and will he ride alone? I get chills right now. Oh my goodness. It's like, no, he won't.
No.
It's one of those characters we get a huge backstory.
But Lan didn't consent to being followed.
That's true. Well, you know.
Didn't consent to riding with others.
He's not leading them. It's just we're riding together in the same...
He's not to go alone.
He's not leading them.
He would like to, though. Anyway, Nynaeve's cool. It's fine.
Coolest outplaying of Lan.
Oh,
If anyone gets to outplay Lan, it's Nynaeve.
Oh, yes.
And she does such a good job.
Like
hey, where are we?
Yeah.
Why are we at the edge of the world?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh man, that is a great scene.
That is great.
And that's one of those scenes that makes me love Knife of Dreams so much. Like, it's one of those winning scenes. It's so powerful.
You know what's a losing scene?
No, don't say it. The Rand thing?
Yeah.
No.
It's physically minus a hand scene. It's losing. We lost something.
Okay, so he's desperate. He's desperate to make a truce with the Shanshin.
So desperate that we put up no real defenses.
Yeah, okay.
And also, the Shanshin have fucking duplicated the male Adam thing.
Yeah, they did do that.
So that's a real freaking problem.
Well, that's not going to come back. It's not the Shanshin that have necessarily duplicated that. It may have been Semirog.
Oh, that's better.
Well, she's captive right now. I'm just saying.
For now.
I'm just saying.
I guess the last time we saw her, she was technically
and Katsuin
captive.
was like, "Hey, I'm looking forward to many long conversations with you."
Yeah.
Because
remember the last time we had a Forsaken in captivity and we learned lots of things from her and then like let her go?
Yeah, nothing bad happened.
Well, actually, another Forsaken let her go.
Yeah.
But
nothing bad happened.
Except that she tried to murder Nynaeve.
But didn't. And that helped her break her block, so I see no downsides here.
To Viren.
Prove me wrong. Anyways, okay, so we had Rand doing a meetup, and then he gets his hand blown off to protect Min.
That was surprising.
I blame Min because Min shouldn't have been there.
Can I tell you, though? I was writing my notes on the Crossroads of Twilight recap, and the last notes I had taken, because I just have like one Wheel of Time like notes thing, I had taken some notes on Min's viewing from the Great Hunt.
Oh, yep. Okay, do it.
And there's a viewing, and I was just reading, COT recap, but right above that, it says Rand's/Elaine's severed hand /bloody hand.
Yep.
Huh.
Yeah, there you go.
And then also bloody rocks on Shale Ghoul. That's a whole thing, but that seems different than this.
Yeah. One's more
but Rand's
direct.
severed hand was a Min's viewing?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
See, like, if I didn't just, like, see that, you're supposed to tell me these things.
So, I mean, there's a lot of Min viewings, and there's a little bit of speculation about that also, though.
Uh-huh.
Because...
well, and, like, that was just, I just read that, like, right now, and was like, oh, what's that?
It's one of those, that's one of those ones where it wasn't specifically, like, there's some ambiguity to it. I don't necessarily want to get into it right now because we got a couple more things before we end this episode here.
Okay.
But besides having Semirog captive, that's probably a decent thing. That's not a bad thing. We have Semirog captive.
Yeah.
But we also had under the...
I actually do think that that's a bad thing.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because...
fine, whatever.
because of what we know of Semirog the torturer.
Oh, yeah, who literally freed herself because, like, people are so afraid of her that they, like, let her go.
Good thing... Okay, here's the thing. Rand is so crazy at this point
Yeah.
that he can't be tortured because he tortures himself worse than any person can.
So he's got nothing left to...
I don't think so.
He's
I don't
good.
think he can actually be impacted.
Sorry, I'm just thinking because you're like implying that like Samurai's going to get free and then specifically torture Rand.
No. Try to get free.
Oh, okay.
By like tormenting.
Oh,
because
yeah,
she psychologically tortures people.
Well, Rand's not going to be guarding Samurai. It's going to be like,
he's going to... His ego will get the better of him, and he's going to bust in and be like, I need to be the one who talks to her. But he won't be able to just balefy her in the face because she's a woman.
Yeah. Someone else should just do that, probably.
Probably.
Yeah. Is Catswin no balefire? Someone should teach her.
Well, when Moraine returns...
Oh,
next
Moraine.
book...
Be like, balefire.
Okay. I don't know. She'll also probably be psychologically all weird, too.
Maybe. Okay. Okay. Officially, we had Varen approve of Catswain because she left a note for Rand, was like, hey, I checked it out. Catswain's cool. So it's all good.
Good.
And then also, as a thing that happened this book, under the banner of Rand lackeys, Logain made a deal for Rand with the Sea Folk, and then we got to learn about the Amayar, the mass suicide. So again, there's like lots of little scenes in this book that are like pretty huge things.
That's a big thing.
So much build up and like so many little tidbits that I love Knife of Dreams because like it all kind of comes together.
And that's a huge implication on the Sea Folk.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because they don't even want to do the deal with Logain because like we have to go back and try to like save who we can. And Logain's like, nah, Tarman Gaiden.
Yeah, we need your boats.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, okay. Now
I had a prediction just quickly before we move on about Rand recognizing Tuon, although now they're not together anymore.
Yeah, different.
So I really wish that had come true.
Yeah.
That would have been interesting to see Rand have a color swirl vision of Mat with Tuon and recognize Tuon from when Semirog was pretending to be Tuon.
Right.
And then him being like, what? You know? And putting two and two together and actually figuring something out. But now
we need like
I'm leaving that
Rand,
alone. And
the Rand, Mat, and his wife meet up.
Oh, jeez. You know, I don't think that Mat will be as fervent as Perrin.
Yeah, with the
being
relationship.
separated from his wife. I just can't really see that happening. So.
Yeah, I mean, he was a little disappointed he didn't get a like kissy before they left, but you know, that's okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about that.
Yep, that's true.
So, yeah, that more or less summarizes Knife of Dreams, except for one thing, which now I'm being sarcastic in the sense that it's super important, but I don't think it's important to you.
Ooh, you're right. I don't know what it is, but you're definitely right. This isn't important to me because I don't even know what you're going to say.
There's one really big thing that I think you actually were right about.
Ooh.
I don't know about the timeline, but
go ahead.
the fact that it happened.
Share it.
It's about our favorite Ogier, Loyal.
Oh, that is on my prediction list. He got married. Yeah.
But you missed the part where they're probably space aliens who might go back to their home planet. Okay. Not exactly, but
how did I miss that? So weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Oh, I'm also super happy that gross old man Nason died.
Oh yeah, he did die.
He's on my list over
Elaine
here
thing.
too that I predicted. And I predicted Darlin would be King of Tyr.
You did say that too. That happened this book.
And that happened.
Yeah.
I also predicted the man in Shattered Logoth was Moradin. That was confirmed this book.
Yeah. Because Rand and Moradin have a special little connection.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's what I got.
Okay. I like how you just ignored everything about Loyal getting married to Aerith.
Oh, he definitely did do that.
Yeah. That was the point of that. And you're like, yeah, skip over that.
And the Ogier have a serious thing they got to figure out.
Yeah. Well, Loyal wants to talk with the greats.
Loyal. You can do it, Loyal. You can do it.
Convince the aliens not to leave.
Oh my gosh.
Don't open your book of translation. Stay on Earth.
Stay here.
Yeah.
Okay. How's that?
Yeah. I mean, okay. That's Knife of Dreams. Getting into a bit of a discussion about the next
Knife
three
of
books.
Dreams.
Okay, did I change your mind at all?
No, I still put it. Okay, I contemplated putting it fourth or even third.
What would be bumped down then? What's the?
Hold on, let me go back to my page here. Okay. No, I'll put Knife of Dreams in 4th place.
So what's getting
maybe
bumped?
Maybe even 3rd.
What's getting bumped?
So The Dragon Reborn and Winter's Heart would get bumped.
Yeah.
For Knife of Dreams to be in 3rd place.
Heck yeah. Do it. That's why I come here, right?
Yeah.
It's to sway your opinion.
Because Knife of Dreams is like your number 1?
The top 3. I don't like to give... I'm so bad at official rankings, but like I'd say top 3. I feel like I've said top 3.
You also put Lord of Chaos in your...
Also top 3. But like,
and then
so
what's the other third? What's the other one?
So it's like Shadow Rising, also top 3.
Okay.
But also like, Eye of the World, top 3.
Eye of the World, top 3.
Winter's Heart is also probably top 3. Like, there's a lot of books that are top 3.
Well, that's 5. Top 5 then.
No. That's not how we do things here.
It absolutely is.
Okay.
But, okay. Interesting. Sounds good. Well, now, before we wrap up, we have a quick word from our friend Matt Hatch over at the Dusty Wheel, who would like to say a few things in honor of our tribute to Robert Jordan.
Hey, Dani and Brett, thanks for asking me to record something about what Robert Jordan's books have meant to me. It's wild to think that I started reading these back in 1990 when I was 15, and just a kid that loved to read, or had grown to love to read, fantasy books. And thanks to a librarian who pointed out The Eye of the World, picked that up, and yeah, it's changed touched almost every facet of my life. It was like 6 or 7 years later, I picked up my first real job in the tech industry, in part because my boss found out that I was a Wheel of Time fan. So we became close, and a lot of that was talking about the Wheel of Time and our love for it. And it wasn't long after that same tech job where I actually created Theoryland. I learned how to make or write HTML and decided, of course, I have to make my own website for what I loved the most about the Wheel of Time, which was theorizing about things that were going to happen. And from that, I met people and made some of my best friends today that I'm still close with over the last many decades, who know my family, know my kids, and have grown up with us. And through that, I ended up meeting the author, and he ended up putting that website as a little tagline in his books about other kind of fan sites where people could find the information about the Wheel of Time. Met him in 2005, thankfully, before he passed. I had a chance to be his bodyguard from a room at Dragon Con. That's about it. We didn't say much. I remember getting to the room and chatting with him for just a moment. But I think I was too shy to ask him directly too many questions. And because of all those things, I got to know his team after he passed. Maria, Alan, and Harriet are amazing people, and got to know them really well going to Wheel of Time conventions. Jordan Con has been a permanent fixture in my life, again, for more than a decade at this point. So, and then I think I've gotten to know so many more of you through the Dusty Wheel. Through that, just through the Amazon picking up this adaptation and running with it. Just, I think the difference Robert Jordan's made in my life is he's brought so many friends and people that have touched my life because of his writings and because of just the world that he created that I came to love. And so that's the difference he's made, and I'm sure will continue to make throughout the rest of my life. So very grateful for him and his team, and for all the fans who have become my friends over the years.
Oh, that's great. Thanks so much, Matt, for sending that in. We really appreciate it. And now we are going to be on the Dusty Wheel, which is Matt Hatch's YouTube live stream event, which is happening actually next week.
Yeah, very soon.
To do our Knife of Dreams recap.
I think by the time this releases, it'll be tomorrow.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah,
okay,
so
tomorrow. Tune into that. Yeah, come see us over on YouTube.
Yeah, Knife of Dreams recap, but in Matt Hatch's format.
Which is much more structured than ours. He runs a tight ship.
This is like our test run.
Yes. Okay, now before we wrap this up, I have a few things that I think I would like to speak to.
Yeah, okay.
That I would generally like to see happen as we move forward.
Okay.
Into the Gathering Storm. That's what's next, right?
Yes.
So 100% we gotta find Moraine.
Okay.
Whether or not she makes it out, you know what I mean? Like, we have to, I've said this when we were talking about whether or not we're going to go rescue Moraine.
Right.
I want to go in, I want to see she's alive, and then it's like whether or not she makes it out or not is yet to be determined. Of course I want that to happen.
Sure.
But we have to go and we have to find her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
has to happen.
Yeah.
Okay? I want more Forsaken. I'm going to need more Forsaken to die.
Yeah.
Officially. Like, Balefire.
Like, get him off the
Get
chessboard.
them
Yeah.
off. Because in chapter 3 of this book, I have a list of all the Forsaken who are alive for sure,
Okay.
who are dead for sure,
Okay.
and who are in Limbo Land.
Right.
And so I'm still waiting on Asmodean, Samael, and Osingar Deshiva Arengar. What's his name?
Agenor.
Agenor. Whatever. Who we have no idea
Yeah.
what's happening with them or their bodies or their souls. No clue.
Okay.
So a little bit of some wrap up here, especially with Sindane Lanfear and Moghedian who are mind trapped. Like, just a little more progress with what's going on with them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need it.
Need more. Okay. I like it. I like it.
And then the tower split wrap up
Yeah.
or moving forward in some way.
Yeah.
With that.
Well, we got to transition everything into
We
the last
have
battle
to.
here.
Perrin and Bail need a purpose, and it might be Massima.
Okay.
Murdering Massima, getting Massima to Rand.
Right.
That might be their purpose. Maybe finding out who Morgaze is. I'd love that. Maybe.
Sure. Yeah.
Something that gives them some kind of purpose, because that's what I was lacking with Matt for a while, and now Matt has one. So now Perrin and Fael are going to need a purpose.
Gotcha.
Those are the things I need.
Okay.
Moving forward.
Okay. Yeah. I like it.
Okay, here we go.
Now you can officially launch
Start.
into and start. Yep. The Gathering Storm.
Okay, do you know breakdown for that prologue?
Oh, totally. And I'm going to release it on our Discord.
You don't know.
Not yet.
You haven't
no.
even looked at it.
That's a tomorrow at lunch job.
Okay, but can I read the whole thing?
Yes, as is tradition, you can read the whole prologue.
Okay.
I'll allow that, but we're going to break down the prologue into separate sections. I don't know exactly the breakdown. I will have that figured out very quickly,
Okay, cool.
and we'll post it.
Good.
Okay,
Yeah,
yep.
because we did debate whether or not, because we are in December, we're going into the holiday season, we debated whether or not to take a break
Yeah.
for our own mental health. Turns out,
Turns out no.
no. Turns out
not going to.
consistency in the podcast matters. We want to produce for our fans.
We're going to power through.
We're going to do it. And also, I don't want to wait. I don't want to read a prologue and then have to wait weeks and weeks before I
Yeah, I
can
know,
read
I know.
the first chapter. Don't want to do that. So here we go.
Yeah, we're just jumping right
We're
into it.
just powering
so
through. No
let's
break.
do it. Let's do this.
Yeah, here we go. Because as we say around here, it's part of the pattern now.
Yeah, it's part of the pattern.
Well, that's the end of another fun episode. Thanks so much for listening, everyone. The Wheel Weaves is hosted and edited by Dani and Brett and produced by Dani and Brett with Passion Socks, KoD Fouts, Benjamin, Jamie Young, Megan, Jared Berg, Ricky Morissette, Adam, Mozyme, Marta Thier, Michelle Forbes, MKM, Antoine Benoit, Lawrence Bradley, Eric Reed, Colby T, Gabby Young, and Grayson Ishara. With music by Audionautics. Be sure to check out our Patreon page if you're interested in supporting us on the podcast. We'd love to send you some Patreon exclusive merchandise as a thank you. Plus, you'll gain access to our episodes earlier than everyone else. And at the time of recording, we have over 45 bonus episodes for your listening pleasure. Find all that and more at patreon.com/thewheelweavespodcast. For general information about our show and information like how to send us shot glasses, how to join the Discord, or how to get in touch with us, visit thewheelweavespodcast.com. And as always, please be sure to give us a 5-star review because it really does make a really huge difference in helping other people find us. And tell a friend, Riyadh, because referrals really are the best compliment. Thanks so much for listening. This really is part of the pattern now.